Alright guys, welcome back to my first mod showcase. Today we're going to be looking at the Waystone mod. So this is the fabric mod of this. I'll be doing fabric mods exclusively, mostly because that is what I use. But there's also a Forge and NeoForge version of this mod that you can do for any version of Minecraft from 1.21.11 and on back. So don't worry about needing if you need a different version than 1.21.11 fabric, you can do it with Forge, NeoForge, and even Fabric Renewed. So, the basics of Waystone has to do with two things. First is a Warpstone, which you would need to kill Enderman for, because the Warpstone recipe, as you can see right here, is 4 amethysts, 4 ender pearls, and a gold ingot. So you're going to have to kill 4 Endermen, and hopefully they drop ender pearls. Luckily, they do spawn during the day now, thanks to 1.21.11. and you just need to go mining for that amethyst. Honestly, the hardest thing to get for this recipe is the amethyst, because you actually have to find an amethyst vein. But once you get these materials, you can get a warpstone, and the first thing you want to do with this warpstone is craft your very own waystone. So waystones, they come in 6 different types of material that you can use. You can either use stone bricks, deep slate, moss stone, sandstone, blackstone, and ender, and stone. So all the different stones you can use to create these 6 different waystones. My favorites are, of course, the moss stone and the black stone, which have this really cool red on black and this mossy texture. But I also do see the likage to having an end stone one of these, because not only can you travel with it through the end, which is nice, but also it just has a really cool purple pattern with the writing. But the other waystones work any way you like. This creeper type texture on the sandstone one is actually pretty cool as well. But in order to craft one of these, you need 6 of either stone bricks, deep slate stone bricks, moss stone bricks, sandstone, blackstone, and of course end stone. But if you have all 6, then you just need a warpstone in the middle, and you can craft a waystone. Now what happens if you place a waystone down? Well, as you can see right here, I have placed down 6 of these, and it showcases these 6 different waystones I have made. Now if you click on this, then you will travel to that waystone. Like for example, if I click showcase, boom, I go straight to the showcase one. I can click on any one of these. Like let's say I want to go to the mossy one, boom, I go to the mossy one. So you can click on any one you want. Now let's say you have to travel a very long distance. Let's say this one is 1,000 blocks away. So if you need to travel more than 1,000 blocks away, you will need experience. So I'll showcase that in a minute, but first I want to go over the other different types of waystone. So let's say you want to not only, let's see if we can get a sharestone out. No, sharestone. Shoot. Well, we can actually just block that off. Or I have one in the chest. Okay, so this is a sharestone. Let's see here. Let's place it down. I was going to show you how. So if you place down a waystone, you have to title it something. I'm just going to title it Dig Dug. And now that's set. So let's say we want to go to Dig Dug. Well, we can go here. We can scroll down. Where is Dig Dug? Did I activate it? I think I activated it. Yeah, so you can search for Dig Dug, and boom, we're at Dig Dug. It's activated. Alright, so what is the difference between a waystone and a sharestone? So a sharestone is another thing you can make. Let's just name this Scion 1. And what this basically means is that you can go anywhere in the world using this sharestone, and anyone can use this. A sharestone basically just means that you can use this from anywhere. And actually I need to make sure. Yes, so a sharestone can be used to transport anywhere, but a sharestone is a different type of deal. Because, let's see here, do I have another sharestone of a different color? Or I may just have to go into game mode creative to get it. Okay, so the reason why I need to do this is because I need a different color, because a cyan sharestone cannot go to a purple sharestone. To exemplify this, purple. So watch this. You can go to anywhere. You can go to any other sharestone. Let's make another sharestone over here. Share. Okay, so I should be able to, there's cyan 1. I can go to cyan 1, but I can go back to share, but I can't go to purple because sharestones can only go to other sharestones of the same color. So I can never go to any other sharestone, just purple, so I need another purple sharestone. Let's see, let's put one right here. Purple are us. And now I can go to purple, but I can't go to cyan. That is the main difference between a sharestone and a waystone. A waystone can be used by anyone. A sharestone has to be of the same color. Alright, and the final one, of course, if you want to make a sharestone, you have to put same type of deal. You need 6 of stone bricks or any type of stone brick, but you can put a warp in the middle, and then you put a die for what color you want this to be. Alright, so Portstones work the same way as waystones do, but there is a difference. So let's get, what do? We have cyan. Okay. Alright, so Portstones are different. Portstones cannot be teleported to, but they can be used to teleport to a waystone. So, I can go to Showcase, but I can't go to the Portstone. I can only use the Portstone to go somewhere. I can't go to where the Portstone is. Now a cyan Portstone can only go to cyan waystones or share points. So it's a one-way trip, one-way. It's basically like an emergency waystone. You can use it. It's easier to craft, but it still takes a warp stone, 2 die for if you want to make a colored one. If you don't want to make a colored one, you don't need the die in the middle, but you just need 3 stone brick slabs, and 3 stone bricks of any brick you want, and a warp stone in the middle. So yeah, that is the basics for the mod. So let's get a little bit funky with it. So, that is not the only thing in this mod. The second part of this mod, let's get rid of these, are the scrolls. Now, the scrolls, there's unbound scroll, return scroll, and warp scroll. So first, let's get an unbound scroll. So the first thing you want to do, this unbound scroll is not bound to a waypoint. So what you got to do is you got to right click the waystone. If you right click a waystone with an unbound scroll, you get a bound scroll, and this allows you to teleport back to your waypoint. So let's say we go over here, right click, and hold down right click, and boom. You hold it down like a bow, and you teleport back to this waypoint that you bound it to. So that is how an unbound and bound scroll work. Alright, so let's get the return scroll. This return scroll was bounded to Mossy. So return scrolls are bounded to the waystone they are closest to. So this return scroll, since I made it and crafted it next to the Mossy waypoint, I was right here when I made it, so it went straight to the moss stone. It works exactly like a bound scroll does, except it only goes to the waypoint it is bounded to. So it won't go to any other waypoint, it'll only go to the one it's bounded to. And then finally, you have a warp scroll. A warp scroll is the best version of the scrolls because you can pick which waypoint you want to go to. And actually, I think it allows you to go... No, you can't go to a... You can only do waystones. So scrolls only take you to waystones. They don't work with portstones or sharestones. But a warp scroll takes you to any one you want. A return scroll takes you to the one it's bounded to. And of course, a bound scroll does the same thing as a return scroll. The return scroll just skips the part of having to bind it. So a return scroll is proximity bound based. This, you can choose which waystone you bound it to, and warp scroll allows you to choose regardless of it's bound or not. And of course, an unbound scroll takes 2 gold nuggets, a feather, and 3 paper. A return scroll takes ink sac, 2 gold, and 3 paper. And of course, the warp scroll is the hardest to make with an ink sac, amethyst shard, 3 paper, and 4 gold nuggets. So of course, a warp scroll is the most expensive, but it is the best of the bunch. Alright, so that is the scrolls. That is it mostly for the mod, but there's one thing they have added extra, and that is this, a warp plate. So a warp plate and a dormant shard. So let's go over here. Let's try and find a flat space. Here's a good flat space. Yeah. So when you right click on this, you get a dormant shard. And what you need to do, yeah, a tune shard. What you do is place it in another warp plate. And that warps you back to the original plate. So what does an attune shard do? Basically, you get it, put it in a warp plate, another warp plate, and now these are paired. You step on this one, it'll take you to that one. Boop, right there. So basically, this is the original, this is the second one you place an attune shard into, which you get from putting a dormant shard in. You get a dormant shard as soon as you put down a warp plate. You just right click it, it gives you a dormant shard, which gives you an attune shard, and you place the attune shard on this second plate, and you just step on it, and it ports you to the original plate. So that just allows you to teleport from 2 places. Let's say you've got a base, you place this in your base. Anytime you need to warp back to your base, place down a warp plate, put an attune shard in it, and you can teleport back to your base. And the way, of course, you craft this plate is you need 4 of any 4 stone bricks, 4 amethyst shards, and of course a piece of flint. Now, unfortunately, you can only make warp plates of stone bricks. You can't use any other stone, which is unfortunate because they haven't made them, but it is relatively new to the mod. This is the newest addition to it. So that's pretty much it. So of course you have the Waystones. You have 6 options for what you want to place them, to make them of different colors. You have the Sharestone, which you can make different networks based on the colors. Of course, a Sharestone, you can only teleport to ones of the same color. And Portstones are, of course, a one-way waystone. You can only port to a waystone, not back to the Portstone. We already went over the scrolls. You bound an unbound scroll to a waypoint, and you can teleport back to it. A return scroll, you craft it, and whatever waypoint's closest to it when you craft it, that's what you return to. And of course, a warp scroll, you can pick whatever waystone you want. And then of course, finally, the warp plates. Place one down, place in a dormant shard, get an attune shard, place down another plate wherever you want, place down an attune shard, and you teleport there. Alright, so the final thing I want to do, I think this should work with the Scion thing. I kind of want to see if I can go far enough away to where the experience thing will show up. I don't know if I want to though. Scion. No. See, so it'll take an experience cost of 2. So 2 experience points to teleport to the other waypoint over there. So let's see here. Enchantment bottle. Be enough. Game mode, survival, like that. And now I can transport to the Scion. It only costs 2 experience points, and boom, we go back to the Scion SharePoint. So yeah, if you have to teleport far enough away, it will cost experience points in order to travel back to waypoints from a certain long distance. So do keep that in mind, especially if you're building bases thousands of blocks away, which in case you may need to start building experience farms in order to be able to afford it. But of course, guys, that is going to be the end for this first mod showcase. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I'm going to do more mods, mostly fabric, but I may do some forge mods. It just depends on how much it loads. My computer really hates forge mods, so I'm going to try and avoid it like the plague, but we'll see what happens. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Like if you like, dislike if you don't, subscribe if you like it, comment down below which mods you'd like to see next, and I'll see you guys with the next showcase. Toodaloo!